I was 14 the first time I woke up in a coffin. Real creepy one too, you know. A seemingly random assortment of rotting wood, haphazardly fashioned to form a roughly box-like shape. A poor man's final resting place. I guess the dead don't care though. You could be buried in the Taj Mahal, but you'd still be dead. But I wasn't. I was very much alive. And let me tell you, I freaked out. Kicked and screamed and punched until I collapsed in exhaustion. At which point I realized something very unnerving about my situation. I wasn't alone. I mean, sure, normally you'd expect some manner of earthly remains when you pop out the lid, you know? But when you wake up in one, I don't know, that's really not the first place your mind goes. So I freaked out again. Corpse was in a terrible state. 10 to 15 years of decomposition in a poorly sealed box. That shit is vile as hell. Those juices, you know, corpse juices, liquefied human filth, really not something you'd want to wake up next to. You'll never forget your first though. I was down there with him for hours before I got out, and I'll always cherish those moments of pure dread and disgust. I'd wake up in coffins every other month after that, more often than not, accompanied by a carcass in varying stages of decomposition. It's strange, you know, what you can get used to. After a while, I started to find it rather cathartic. I'd snuggle up to them and hold them tightly, imagining in my derangement that it was my mother, and that she was alive, and that she loved me. I guess we're getting there now, aren't we? It took me a few years to piece it all together. How I got into those coffins, and maybe more interestingly, why I got into those coffins. Abandonment issues. So dull, am I right? So boring, so mundane. Apparently, I'd sleepwalk to local cemeteries and dig my way down into the cold, awaiting embrace of my next surrogate mother. And then I'd rest, and yearn, and dream. I barely remember her at all, you know, just brief moments from that night, flashing of my father shoveling dirt onto her naked, broken body. The look in her eyes as she realized what was happening, the sound of her desperate cries, heavy stuff. Anyway, after some time, the stiffs just didn't do it for me anymore. They were too removed, too detached. I needed something, I don't know, living. I guess you know that much though. I'll be down here with you for a few hours, sleeping, dreaming, living, and then I'll leave you alone. It'll take some time before you run out of oxygen, 5.5 hours maybe, so you'll have time to reflect, say goodbye. Maybe you'll nod off too, and wake up again. Wake up again in a coffin. Wouldn't that be nice?